own spontaneous desire to serve Krishna in that way. You see? That's the difference. It's a decision that's made on his own determination. See? And this is why, even though it says they don't follow the regulative principles very strictly, what that means is they don't live like a rigid, regulative lifestyle. They still follow the regulative principles in the sense that they don't fall down into material consciousness. They don't commit sinful activities. They don't commit offenses either. Pure devotees. Raganuga Bhakti. They're already beyond that. They're already beyond the stage of anartha nivritti. So there are no offenses, there are no anarthas. No unwanted things in their character. They're very, very pure. But they want to go higher, they want to go further, they want to reach a more intense stage of love of Krishna. They take this on their own initiative. It's like they've already gone far enough, to earn liberation. They're not concerned with liberation. They're not concerned with stopping sinful activities or anything like that. They want to go farther. They want to go higher. They want to go to a more intense, closer platform of relationship and service. So they make this great decision, this great vow, this great determination that I want to serve Krishna like this. And they approach Krishna like that, and they beg for that service. And then they study the great devotees in that particular mood for clues. See? And then gradually, slowly, one little step at a time, this relationship becomes revealed to them internally. It's an amazing thing. It's the most fantastic thing. Because it's Krishna directly revealing to his devotee how he wants the devotee to serve him. It's just fantastic. You got to get there. You have to become spontaneous devotee. So, there is a gradual development of the ambition to become like a particular devotee, and this activity is called raganuga. We must always remember, however, that such eagerness to follow in the footsteps of the denizens of Vraja, Vrindavan, is not possible unless one is freed from material contamination. In following the regulative principles of devotional service, there is a stage called anartha nivritti, which means the disappearance of all material contamination. Sometimes someone is found imitating such devotional love, meaning spontaneous devotion, but factually he is not freed from anarthas or unwanted habits. It has been seen that a so-called devotee proclaims himself a follower of Nanda, Yashoda, or the gopis, while at the same time his abominable attraction for mundane sex life is visible. Such a manifestation of so-called divine love is mere imitation and has no value. When one is actually spontaneously attracted to the loving principles of the gopis, there will be found no trace of any mundane contamination in his character. Therefore, at the beginning, everyone should strictly follow the regulative principles of devotional service according to the injunctions of the scriptures and the spiritual master. Only after the stage of liberation from material contamination can one actually aspire to follow in the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavan. See, I told you. I told you. Didn't I tell you? Yeah. It is said by Sri Rupa Goswami, when one is actually liberated from material contamination, he can always remember an eternal devotee in Vrindavan in order to love Krishna in the same capacity. And developing such an aptitude, one will always live in Vrindavan, even within his mind. Lord Chaitanya is famous for saying, Mana Mora Vrindavan. My mind is Vrindavan. The purport is that if it is possible, one should go and physically be present at Brajabhumi, Vrindavan, and be engaged always in the service of the Lord, following the devotees in Brajadham, the spiritual realm of Braja. If it is not possible, however, to be physically present at Vrindavan, one can meditate anywhere upon living in that situation. Wherever he may be, one must always think about life in Brajadham and about following in the footsteps of a particular devotee in the service of the Lord. So how the devotees do this is that they chant constantly while contemplating the shlokas from the Rasa Shastras that describe the devotional service in Vrindavan. There are many, many beautiful, beautiful works written by the Goswamis. Ujjvala Nilamani, for example, or Vidagdha Madhava, that describe the pastimes of Krishna with his intimate devotees in Vrindavan, or the 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, for that matter. So the aspiring devotee will meditate upon the particular shlokas that describe the kind of relationship that he wants to cultivate or develop, you see? And this gives him inspiration. And then while chanting and deeply hearing the holy name, all these things become manifest in one's mind. This is the most amazing, most confidential stage of devotional service. Can't be imitated. A devotee who is actually advanced in Krishna consciousness, who is constantly engaged in devotional service, should not manifest himself, even though he has attained perfection. The idea is that he should always continue to act as a neophyte devotee as long as his material body is there. Activities in devotional service under regulative principles must be followed even by the pure devotees. But when he realizes his actual position in relationship with the Lord, he can, along with discharging regulative service, think within himself of the Lord under the guidance of a particular associate of the Lord and develop his transcendental sentiments in following that associate. So, in other words, you don't see the really advanced devotees like wearing saris, you know, and imitating the gopis, or you know, putting on the dress of a cowherd boy and going, you know, imitating Krishna's pastimes with the cowherd boys. Or, you don't see them trying to manifest this in their external activities. That is known as sahajya. Sahajya means someone who takes this advanced devotional service as a very cheap thing, who simply thinks that the material body can actually manifest spiritual activities, which it can't. We can, with the material body, we can perform regulative service only. The spontaneous service is actually performed with the spiritual body directly. But of course, that is not visible externally. So to manifest these different symptoms visibly, externally, is not recommended or approved. In this connection, we should be careful about the so-called Siddha Pranali. The Siddha Pranali process is followed by a class of men who are not very authorized and who have manufactured their own way of devotional service. They imagine that they have become associates of the Lord simply by thinking of themselves like that. This external behavior is not at all according to the regulative principles. The so-called Siddha Pranali process is followed by the Prakrita Sahajya, a pseudo-sect of so-called Vaishnavas. In the opinion of Rupa Goswami, such activities are simply disturbances to the standard way of devotional service. Now, some people argue that Bhakti Vinod Thakur received Siddha Pranali from his instructing guru, his Shiksha guru, Bipin Bihari Goswami. And this is true, this is a fact. And it's also a fact that Bhaktivinoda gave Siddha Pranali to one of his sons, but he did not give it to his other son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He gave it to his other son, but he didn't give it to Bhaktisiddhanta. And the reason for this is that this group of Prakrita Sahajya devotees had become very prominent, almost like a fad or a trend in society. But they were so degraded, they were so incredibly degraded, that the practice of Siddha Pranali itself became identical